Hello everyone, welcome back to another benchmark video. Today we'll be testing the game called Atomfall. For this test, I'm using a GTX 1650 DTX model graphics card along with an Intel i5 12400F processor and 16GB of RAM. All the drivers are up to the date and none of the components used are overclocked, with all background processes closed. Enjoy the video. At low preset in Windham Village, we see frame rates between 70 to 90 FPS with a 1% low of 15 FPS. There are no frame time spikes with a uniform frame time of around 14 ms. As we move to the Statendale, expect performance in the range of 60 to 80 FPS. The frame time graph occasionally reaches 15 ms, but this has a negligible impact on the gameplay. In Castle Woods, the performance is exactly the same. Moving on to the Skadamo, frames drop below 60 FPS, reaching 55 FPS with a 1% low of 15 FPS. Inside the interchange, frames performance increases, reaching above 100 FPS for the first time, lying in the range of 80 to 140 FPS. Overall, at the low preset, the game looks slightly blurry and soft. Moving on to the medium preset, in Windham Village, the game looks significantly better compared to the low preset, with improved depth in shadows of grass and vegetation. Frame rates occasionally fall below 60 FPS, but mostly hover around 60 FPS. Meanwhile, frame time latency increases, reaching 19 ms at times. In Slatendale, frames remain below 60 FPS, typically lying in the range of 50 to 60 FPS with a 1% low of 15 FPS. The frame time graph even crosses 20 ms here. In Castle Woods, frame can dip into the high 40s, typically ranging from 40 to 60 FPS with a 1% low of 13 FPS. At Skethamo, frames range from 40 to 60 FPS and can drop as low as 44 FPS with a 1% low of 15 FPS, and frame time latency reaches to 22 ms here. Inside the interchange, frames stay consistently above 60 FPS at the medium preset, even crossing 100 FPS at times. Next, at the high preset, in Windham Village, the game looks fantastic compared to the low preset. All the character features are more detailed, buildings have improved shadows, and vegetation looks better than ever. However, frame rates drop but do not fall below 40 FPS, typically ranging from 40 to 60 FPS with a 1% low of 11 FPS. Frame time latency does not exceed 23 ms here. In Slatendale, frame rates fall further to as low as 35 FPS but generally hover around 40 FPS. The frame time latency reaches its highest point here at 27 ms. In the Castle Woods, frames drop into the lower 30s for the first time, typically falling within the range of 30 to 50 FPS, and the frame time latency reaches 31 ms here for the first time. At Skadamo, performance remains similar to that in Castle Woods, without any further degradation in the performance. Inside the interchange, frames finally reach 60 FPS, staying close to this for the most of the time, and occasionally exceeding 90 FPS. Notably, there is no significant change in the frame time graph. Moving on to the final preset of the game, at Ultra preset in Windham Village, the game becomes unplayable, with frame rates ranging from 20 to 40 FPS, typically sticking around 25 FPS and a 1% log 2 FPS. Additionally, frame time graph reaches a high of 46 ms. In Slatendale, frame rates range between 20 to 30 FPS, usually staying close to the lower 20s. We can also see more frame time spikes in the frame time graph. In Castle Woods, frames drop even further to 17 FPS with a 1% low of 2 FPS, and frame time latency exceeds 50 ms here. At Scatamo, performance remains similar in terms of frame rate, but the frame time latency reaches even higher to 53 ms. Lastly, inside the interchange, frame rates fall in the range of 40 to 80 FPS, but remain close to the 40 FPS for the most of the time. The good news is that frame time latency is nearly half there. Now let's come to the conclusion. Should you buy this game or not? If you have similar configuration to mine, it's worth considering. The game is easily playable at medium preset, providing a close 50 to 60 FPS experience. Thank you for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more gaming content.